Well, I was able to get it on there. It's a little bit of a mess. We got some oil leaking out of them two holes. Just because it ain't got no bolts in it. Kind of low. I tilted it and it started dripping a little bit. Made a little bit of a mess. We'll have to clean that up. No big deal. Here's what we did run into. I had to grind the top of the plate. They said you might have to do it anyhow. Now it's right against that, but it fit the dowel so beautiful. You know, they really did a nice job on that. It's performance adapters. There's the part number if you wanted to get one made, CK113R-A. Now that just might be whatever. Now that might be a part number for the 2.2 Ecotech motor. This is a 2005 Chevy front wheel drive motor. It's supposed to be adapted to a 4L60E. Now on this truck, we're going to have to use a half-ton transfer case, like from a 80 to a 90. I think you could even use a newer one, as long as you can shift that transfer case manually in the four-wheel drive. What happens is on these factory trucks here, they got an electronic box. It gets wet, it won't work. It won't shift it out of 2-wheel to 4-high or 4-low. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but we're getting rid of that drive-by wire. Now this pipe, I did have to loosen a bolt right there. Now I'm going to try to stick that bolt back in it. I might have to grind some on the transmission housing to get them bolts in. Hopefully not. I hope it should be good. Now this is touching. You know, we'll just have to kind of run it and see whatever. It looks like it's got a pressed in piece here. I don't know if we can, if we have problems, we could cut it and just whatever. I'm just going to try to use what we got. It's a driver. If it becomes an issue, we'll fix it from there. Performance adapters. Performanceadapters.com. CK113R-A. I don't know if they start offering these as a swap kit. As far as I know, I did see a Colorado with an Ecotech motor in it. Now, my cousin, he took and put an Ecotech motor down in a little Ford car. I'm talking, this old boy got a little hot rod. They flashed it. They did all the updates. He was able to get on a forum or something and find a way to get the body control module to work for his application. To shift the transmission just like factory. I guess that transmission would bolt up factory just to that motor. He's a Muncie. Anywho, he lives up the road here. He's a big time mechanic. I would call him a mechanic. You know, he does good work. But we got all the dowels on here. Now, you know, as we're seeing, the starter don't fit. Now, their starters are kind of expensive compared to a factory starter. That nose cone, it won't come out far enough, and then it's got a piece that sticks that flex plate out. I was hoping he made me a plate that would go from this flex plate, once you get it back on there, and bolt up to my factory torque converter. He sent a plate. It looks like it goes to the back side of this. He might be sending something else with this. It took a little while to get here. I don't know. He said 6 weeks. It was way before the 6-week mark. I placed an order on the 15th, and within, by today's the 20th of the following month. You know, 4 weeks and so many days. So I can't complain. I did have to grind the top of that. I mean, you wouldn't have to if you was to cut this, but this is bolted up in behind the manifold, and it's a lot. And I don't have a way to TIG that up. I like to braze that old metal. I don't know if it's metal, like metal, or cast, but you know, you're gonna have to take it out of that, whatever's in there pressed in. And we got to put all the bolts in it with the Loctite, and then we can see how it fits to the transmission. Now, it might fit top tight on the transmission as far as going together, but I'm still trying to figure out what we're going to need for the torque converter to the flex plate. That flex plate's a lot smaller than that factory torque converter the factory torque converter on the 4L60 is bigger than this. I do believe that's a 45T transmission. Now that plate fits perfect. I checked it with this torque converter. It fits perfect on this torque converter. But that might be a backing plate to the flex plate, so it don't flex so much. It stiffens up the flex plate when you extend it out that far. I don't know. I was hoping he was sending me a plate that would bolt from the factory transmission on this truck torque converter to the flex plate. You know, one's got holes further off than the other. It just makes it beautiful. I see guys taking sheet metal and making stuff. I really don't have like a drill press and to make it perfect to where these two are going to be straight on the money and it's just bolted up and it comes with the bolts and everything. You know, that's really about the only way I see to do it. Now, we did take a long time to get that car took apart and did a lot. We did a lot of videos on that. Next thing's next, the motor comes out and then we see what it's going to take to get these two sandwiched together with a starter. Now I might have to buy a starter off them. I don't think that's going to work. He did drill some holes to the back side here, so I don't know, maybe we can take that factory starter and use it with this flex plate. Who knows? We can't cuss yet until we figure out what's going on with everything. So that's that. That's about the only thing we got done today. It's a rubbing a little bit, it's touching. I really can't take no more of that off. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, if you get in there, there might be a paper between those two. But we'll see. I'm going to try to put that bolt back in there. I don't want that to leak. It's some kind of, it might be pressed in. It might just be something that just kind of holds it with that rubber. If you could pull it out and maybe modify it or something. May have to get the transmission to bolt up together. Yeah, you might have to take it apart and just put a piece of something in there to make it a little bit longer. And I could do it with, like, braze it together, gas weld it. I could do that, but if it's anything more than that, then it's out of my, league. I've got this little thing. It's got a deal for maybe being able to TIG weld. I've got like two things that said it will TIG weld, but you got to have the torch, you got to have gas. And my TIG skills ain't what they used to be. Now, back in the day, I used to be able to do it, but the machine was already set up. It was a better machine. It's not like a strike start or what is like the newer stuff, the cheaper stuff. Now, I do use the little cheap welder. I like that, you know. Once you figure out how to use one, just basically that's what it would be with that TIG. And, you know, once I put that together, I don't want no problems out of it. So I may have to get somebody a little bit with a little more practice that knows how to use it or whatever. But that's what we got going on as far as the motor swap's going. Next thing's next, we could get that motor out. I got to finish up all the stuff on this with the adapter, all the bolts. And then may have to get a starter, may have to cut that pipe and extend it to make it work for whatever, but we're probably going to take two wiring harnesses to make one work. I don't want to take the wiper motors off. I want to use that wiring harness, my steering column, my brakes, minus the traction control stuff. You know, we're going to get rid of all that stuff. The ticks are so bad out here, man. I pulled off 50 ticks off of me. And my dad's wife, she got bit by a tick. And I guess it did something to her body for a lifetime. She can't have meat. And, you know, I like beef and stuff like that. But, you know, it makes it to where you make you sick. So, she already has problems with her hand. But you can see they're already, look at that, man. They're just crawling. I put some long socks on so I can pick them off. But it's a lot. We're just going to keep pushing on this thing. We got the next piece of the puzzle, so, and I got those sidebars so we can put that all that factory wiring harness in there as far as making it start off the key, and we'll figure it out from there.